guys know this about me, maybe you don't, but I can be very indecisive, which is what I was this morning when I was like, what am I going to teach today? And in honor of us getting our ballots, right? Most of us got our ballots. I thought we would celebrate freedom and choice a little bit today. So let myself off the hook, give you guys a little bit more freedom and choice in kind of what areas you want to get into in your body. I planned a pretty, standard, I guess, practice, nothing crazy, nothing out of control. But in all of the poses that I chose to include today, you have an opportunity to get into your shoulders, your hips, your thoracic spine, and you get to kind of choose what you need today and where you want to send your attention, where you want to send your energy, where you want to send your breath, because that's really the bottom line, right? So we're going to start in everybody's favorite way to start. Literally, we're going to start in Shavasana, but since you have the freedom of choice, have your 2 blocks. I don't think you need anything else, although if you think you want to have a strap or a blanket nearby, go ahead and grab it. If you want to put your blocks in the shoulder opener, you can. If you want to lay a block underneath your sacrum and be in a supported bridge, you can. If you want to just lay out in Shavasana, you can. If you want to bend your knees, if you want to put the soles of your feet together, you can. So basically, find your way into whatever posture is calling you right now. Something where you can recline, relax, and surrender your body to whatever posture it is that you're choosing. And then once you've chosen your posture, give yourself a few moments to kind of settle in. You might need to wiggle or make a little adjustment to make the posture a little bit more friendly, or you might decide that you want to choose a variation or something different. Just giving yourself those few moments to arrive, to shift your awareness from the external world to the internal world. And as you shift your awareness from the external world to the internal world, just move in that direction of knowing you have freedom and choice to explore the internal world any way that you see fit. So that might mean that you start by just surveying your physical body, noticing any areas that feel disconnected or any areas that feel especially like hypersensitive or any areas that maybe just feel good. So you take these few moments to identify what's going on inside. And then once you've identified what's going on inside, move your awareness to the very center of your body. So you can imagine a space between your navel and the bottommost part of your sternum, like your solar plexus area. And as you breathe into your solar plexus area, visualize a bright sun that's getting brighter. And as you exhale, think about the channels of your body that the breath is moving through and try to integrate some of those areas that felt strong, some of those areas that felt hypertonic, some of those areas that felt whatever they felt. Try to see if you can start to run your breath like it's running, like a stream is running through all of those areas. So again, as you breathe in, you find that breath filling into the center of your body. You're visualizing this bright sun getting brighter. And as you exhale, you're imagining that breath matriculating through all of the channels of the stream, through all of the parts of your body, so that everything is integrating and becoming more uniform. And so continue to breathe in this manner, allowing your awareness to become so deeply interested and merged with each and every breath. Now you can continue to do this in exactly the same way, staying in the physical body. But maybe you shine a tiny little bit of awareness also on if there's any emotions that are running through this stream or any thoughts. And the point of yoga is to learn to let it flow, right? So any emotion we have, we learn to flow and let it flow through us until we reach the other side of it. And thoughts, if we can kind of imagine a thought just floating by without getting carried on it, we can just watch it go by, we become more astute observers or witnesses to the internal world. So I'll give you guys just about a minute or two more to notice whatever it is that you notice as you fully surrender the physical body, as you feel that breath moving through the channels of the body, as you utilize the breath as an instrument to integrate and create more uniformity throughout the body, throughout the mind. More of a sense of balance, more of a sense of not getting pulled, being centered. And so you continue to breathe into the center of your body and move that center energy outward. And so slowly starting to allow your body to animate a little bit more, allowing your breath to animate into those parts of you that maybe felt a little bit vulnerable, maybe felt a little bit weak or a little bit overtaught. And as you're ready, taking your time, and making your way onto all fours. Take as many steps as you need to get there. As you come onto all fours, spread your fingers out nice and wide, stack your shoulders directly above your wrist, and then imagine that you have a suction cup underneath the center of your palm and you're suctioning energy up from the earth, and just feel your arms and your shoulder girdle start to activate. You feel as if the heart is being drawn, the back of the heart is being drawn up towards the shoulder blades. Now press the tops of the feet and the shins down into the mat so that you start to feel your pelvic floor engage just a little bit as well. So we're just activating and animating different parts of the body by drawing our attention to those places. And now let that next breath, let that inhale really reach your chest forward as you look forward, coming into cow. And as you exhale, rolling your belly button up towards your spine. And so you have this choice here, right? Where do you want to pay attention to in your body as you move through these two postures, cat and cow? What areas are calling to you? Is it your shoulders? Is it your thoracic spine? Is it your low back? Is it your hips? Take a few more rounds, continuing to observe yourself from the inside out through the technology of your breath. Let's take one more complete round. See if you can feel every little single part of your body that's participating in this somewhat simple movement. And then find your way back to a neutral spine. And as you find your way back to the neutral spine, same thing, suction cup underneath the palms, lift the energy up from the ground. Press the shins and the tops of the feet down until you feel your pelvic floor engage, and feel that little bit of strength that you already generate in the center of your body. And then open your left arm up to the left and try to hold a little bit of that energy in your belly muscles. And as you exhale, dive your left arm underneath your right arm. Reach all the way through, pause, and then press into your right palm and open your left arm back up to the left again. As you inhale, observe the movement. And as you exhale, dive your left arm underneath your right arm and keep reaching through. Observe the movement. What do you feel? One more time. Inhale, stretch the left arm up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, reach the left arm all the way through. Good, and then place the left hand back down right underneath the left shoulder. Take a moment to suction cup from underneath your palms. Press the shins and the tops of the feet down. Feel the center of your body engage. Feel the crown of your head and your tailbone elongating away from one another. And then hold on to that as you start to open. Where are you opening from? Open up through the thoracic spine, right arm towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, dive the right arm underneath the left arm. Reach it all the way through and pause. Again, inhale. Follow the breath as if the breath could choreograph the entire length of the movement. As you exhale, dive your right arm back underneath your left arm and then take a pause. Good, one more time. Inhale the right arm all the way up. And as you exhale, dive it underneath. Pause. Good, and then place your right hand right back down underneath your right shoulder. Take your hands about 3 inches forward. Tuck your toes under. Hover your kneecaps just a ½ inch above the mat, and then use your belly muscles to lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Let's keep the knees pretty bent for now. And with the knees bent, see if you can tilt your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. So I'm asking you to put a little bit extra arch into your lower back, right? And then start to think about pressing the thigh bones backwards. And as you press the thigh bones backwards, don't worry so much about straightening the knees. Think about lifting up through the sitting bones. Can you lift the sitting bones? Can you lift the pubic bone up a little bit higher? And then imagine your heels could magnetize down towards the earth. Great. So as you press into the mound between your thumb and your first finger, imagine the underside of your forearms becoming more buoyant. As if you could firm the underside of your forearms up towards the top of your forearms, and then roll your triceps down towards the earth as your shoulder blades broaden on your back. Beautiful. As you inhale, shift forward to the top of the push-up. Stack the shoulders directly above the wrists. Imagine that you're being lengthened from the crown of your head all the way down to the tailbone. The inner thighs spin up towards the ceiling and the heels press back against an imaginary wall behind you. And notice what all of that does to your belly muscles. Can you feel that? Can you lift up a little more through the sides of the waist? Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, super slow motion, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale breath, super slow motion, shift forward into the top of the push-up. You really get to observe, see how you're doing in that witness perspective. What's in your awareness here? As you exhale, super slow motion. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. One more time, your version of super slow motion. Whatever feels right in your body, you have that freedom of choice to move in a way that helps you lubricate anything that might be tight or strengthen anything that might be asking for your attention. Good. So on your next inhale breath, shift forward to that plank pose one more time. And as you exhale, lower your belly all the way down to the mat. Your elbows just graze the sides of your body. Good. And then flip your feet over. Press the tops of your feet down, especially your pinky toenails. Take your hands out wider than your yoga mat, as if you had a cupcake underneath your palms. So your fingers are on the floor, your palms are lifted. And then imagine pulling your elbows towards the back of the room as you stretch your toes backwards. Start to coil your upper spine upward and see if you can get the thoracic spine to lift up as you press the left and the right side of your pubic bone down. Keep the expression on your face calm and see if the breath can animate a little bit more movement in the uppermost part of your spine. And then as you exhale, Gently roll yourself all the way back down. Place your hands directly underneath your elbows. Imagine you could pull your yoga mat backwards, point your elbows towards the back of the room, pause right here, roll your front shoulders towards the back, and notice how that starts to coil your upper spine upwards. Lengthen back through your toes. And stay here and see if you can evolve the posture by breathing. How can you move the breath? Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, gently roll yourself back down. Separate your knees. Toes can move towards one another. Shift your hips back into a child's pose. And as you shift your hips back into that child's pose, allow those muscles in your upper spine to get a nice stretch. Then imagine you were trying to pull your yoga mat backwards, so your arm bones are kind of anchoring a little bit more into your shoulder sockets. Roll the triceps down as if you could spin the biceps up, but as you continue to press down through the thumb and the first finger, and then the root of every other finger. Good, and then keep your arms disengaged. Shift forward just enough to tuck your toes under, and then lift your hips up and back into that downward facing dog. And then from this downward facing dog, walk your hands all the way back towards your feet. And you can separate your feet as wide as your mat. Clasp your opposing elbows. Let the crown of your head magnetize down towards the earth, and maybe shake out your head or stretch the hinge of your jaw. You can nod your head yes or shake your head no. You can sway your body from side to side. Freedom of choice here. So what do you need? Maybe interlacing the hands behind the back. If you have the elbows crossed, you can switch the cross of your elbows. If you have your hands interlaced behind your back, you can switch which thumb is on top. Good, and then release your fingers down to the floor. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer together, so they're like inner hip distance apart. And then step your left foot behind your right foot and all the way over to the right hand side of your mat, so your pinky toes align with one another. Then bend into your front right knee a little bit more, and you'll start to feel a nice big stretch down the left IT band. You can stay here, or you can start to spiral your left arm up towards the ceiling. Take a few breaths. Good, and then slowly lower your left arm back down if you had it lifted. Step your left foot back to the left side of the mat. Step your right foot behind your left and all the way over to the left-hand side. Align your pinky toes towards one another. Then look at that front left knee. Start to bend it just a little bit more. And notice when you bend it, you get that stretch in the right side. Stay here, or option to take the right arm up to the sky. So you might feel your shoulders, your thoracic spine, or your hip, meaning your IT band, which crosses your hip joint. Take one more breath. If you have your arm raised, take it down. Step your feet back so that they are inner hips distance apart. Bend your knees so that your belly lands on your thighs. And then keep your belly glued to your thighs and just start to lengthen your chest forward. Keep your belly on your thighs. Just reach the heart forward. Good, and then as you exhale, fold back down and start to lift up through the sitting bones. So can you lift the sides of the hips a little higher as you remain connected with your belly on your thighs? Good, and then keep your knees slightly bent and slowly start to roll yourself up vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae, allowing each vertebrae to stack upon the one below it, eventually stacking your rib cage on top of your pelvis and your head on top of your rib cage. Let your shoulders roll forward, up, back, and down. Turn your palms to face forward. Allow your collarbones to broaden. And take another breath into the center of your body, into your belly. Feel that warm sun getting brighter. And as you exhale, send that breath all the way out through all of the channels of your body. And then step to the front of your mat. So the feet are going to be inner hips distance again. Left arm is going to slide down the left thigh. Right arm is going to reach over the ear as you stamp into your right foot. Allow your right side body to stretch all the way out. Good. Inhale, take it back up. Place your right hand on the right thigh. Take your left arm up to the sky, and as you exhale, side bend, slide your right hand down, take your left arm over your ear. Try to turn your chest up towards the ceiling. Notice your footprint as if you were making footprints in your yoga mat. Good. Inhale, take it all the way up, hands by your sides, turn the palms to face open. Beautiful. As you inhale, circle your arms, reach up to the sky. As you exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen your chest forward. Try to isolate that movement to the thoracic spine. As you exhale, step your left foot to the back of the yoga mat. Drop your left knee down. Uncurl your toes. Press the top of your left foot down into the yoga mat. Press strong into your right foot. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to be pretty specific here. So hands on the hips. I want you to find the front of your pelvis, those two bones in the front and those two bones in the back. And I want you to lift those bones in the front up so that they're level to the bones that are in the back. Yeah? Then I want you to find that midline as if you could squeeze your inner thighs on this skinniest little pencil line that's bisecting the middle of your mat. Now you can feel all of that strength that's holding your pelvis in place. Now reach your arms forwards, palms facing one another. Keep the legs solid, keep the pelvis solid. And as you inhale, start to float the arms up, start to float the heart up. You're gonna keep going. The pelvis is neutral, but the thoracic spine is arching. And as you exhale, bring your hands down. You can always place a block underneath your left hand. You're gonna stay with your back knee down, and you're gonna spiral your right arm up to the sky. Same thing with the pelvis. So I want you to notice, can you feel the front of the pelvis trying to lift up? As you squeeze the inner thighs in towards one another, you feel that that right side of your pelvis is in line with the left side of your pelvis. Good, now start to reach your right arm back behind you, swoop it all the way through to the front, and then turn the left side of your chest a little bit more up towards the ceiling. You have an option, if you like, to tuck your back toes under, to lift your back knee up off of the mat, completely optional. Good, and then wherever you are, circle your right arm back down. You can definitely place blocks on either side of your right foot. Lift your back knee up off of the mat. Imagine you could scissor your right leg backwards, your left toes forward. So you're just in this low lunge. And then start to reach your chest forward as if you could show off a medallion on your chest. Your shoulder blades descend down your back. Good, and then step your left foot forward to meet your right foot. As you inhale, reach your chest forward. As you exhale, fold back in. As you inhale, circle your arms all the way up to the sky. Listen carefully. As you exhale, lift your left knee up and hug your left knee in towards your chest. Notice if your pelvis is even here. Good. Release your left leg. Inhale, circle your arms up to the sky. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward, long spine. As you inhale, lift your heart. And as you exhale, step your right foot to the back of the yoga mat. Drop your back knee down, uncurl your toes, press the top of your right foot down. So you're gonna scissor your legs together, bring your hands to your hips. And start to steer those frontal hip points up as you try to steer those rear, what are those called? Pelvic bones down. And then squeeze your legs together as if they're squeezing that little tiny pencil line. So feel all of that strength and stability you have from your belly button down. Reach your arms forward. As you inhale, start to float the arms up, but imagine your arms were just carrying the light of your heart, and keep arching through your upper spine as you maintain through the lumbar. Good. As you exhale, bring your hands down on either side. You can place a block underneath your right hand if you need to. Inhale, take the left arm up to the sky. Reach your left arm back behind you. Then swoop it all the way through so that your left arm is reaching forward. Pinky side of your hand turned down. Keep trying to turn the right side of your chest up towards the ceiling. Option to tuck your back toes under and to lift your back knee up off of the mat. Remember, you're trying to keep your pelvis even here. Good. And then circle the left arm all the way back down. If your back knee is not lifted, go ahead and lift it. You can definitely place blocks underneath both hands. Remember, you're trying to keep the sides of the pelvis even here. So, is your left side pelvis way higher than your right? Can you revolve that left sitting bone down as you spin your right inner thigh up towards the ceiling? And then pull your chest forward as your shoulder blades descend down your back. Beautiful. Now step your right foot forward to meet your left. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, fold back in. As you inhale, circle your arms, reach all the way up. And as you exhale, hug your right knee in towards your chest. And see if you can do that while you keep the sides of your pelvis even. Take a couple breaths here. Find that inner awareness, working on whatever it is you need to work on. Good, and then release your leg down. Inhale, circle your arms, reach up to the sky. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward, long spine. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, step your left foot to the back of the yoga mat, and then turn your left foot down on an angle. So we're gonna line up heel to arch alignment. And then take your block, move the block to the inside of your right ankle, place your hand upon the block. Make sure that your right elbow and your right inner knee are pressing into one another. So we can use this in one of two ways. We can use this to further open the hip by imagining that that right hip is pulling underneath us a little more. So we're working on externally rotating, turning the inner thigh towards the outer thigh. Or we can work on the thoracic spine by really bracing that elbow against the knee and using it as an opportunity to open the chest as you extend that top arm up to the sky. Press strongly into the outer edge of your back foot. Look at your right knee. Make sure that it's stacked right on top of your ankle. And then see if you can get your right thigh bone a little bit more parallel to the floor. It doesn't have to be parallel, but see if you can go a little bit closer towards parallel. And then imagine at your pelvic floor you could lift up through the pelvic floor. Turn your palm to face forward and reach your left arm over your ear into the front of the room. So you're making the longest line of energy possible from your left leg all the way through your left fingertips. Every inhale, you get even longer. You strive for that length. Every exhale, you revolve just a little bit more. The right ribs turn down, the left ribs roll back. Take one more round of breath here. Good, and then inhale up into a warrior two. And as you exhale, straighten your right leg. Press into the ball mound of your right toe. And then allow your pelvis to start to shift. So you're going to deepen the crease of your right hip. As you reach the right side of your rib cage way out over your right thigh, pause here. See if you can turn your right lung down towards the floor just a little bit more. Press a little bit more into the ball mound of your right foot so you can make your right leg a little longer. Soften your right knee just so there's no hyperextension. Right hand comes back down to the block. Left arm stretches up to the ceiling. Find your breath. See if you can elongate through the right side of your waist. As you continue to track your right sitting bone towards the arch of your left foot. If you want to work on a little bit more shoulder mobility, turn your palm to face behind you and drop your hand to your lower back or to your hip crease, being aware that you're rolling that left collarbone a little bit more open. And if you have your hand behind your back, lift your hand back up to the ceiling. Re-bend your right knee. Stack that knee right on top of the ankle. And then return to Warrior Two. As you return to Warrior Two, feel the front and the back of the pelvis equal in height. Flip your right palm over. Inhale, reverse the warrior. And as you exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Pause right here. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. And again, start to twist. Take the right arm out to the right and start to revolve the left lung down, right lung up towards the ceiling. Now, I like to roll to the outer edge of my back foot and start to heel toe the right foot towards the long edge of the mat. I get a nice hip stretch there. But if you're having an amazing thoracic stretch in the twist, stay here or extend your arm over your ear. Freedom of choice. Find what works in your body. And then find your way back into a plank pose. Pause in your plank pose. Feel the spine get long. Feel the inner thighs roll up. And as you exhale, take your hips up and back into downward facing dog. You're going to stay on the right leg for just a moment more. Inhale, take your right leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, shift forward, curl your knee in towards your chest, pause right there, and step your foot between your hands. Good, so we're going to break this down the same way we did earlier. Bring your hands to your hips. Bend your back knee a little bit more and steer the front of your pelvis up, yeah? Squeeze the outer hips in towards the midline, so you're squeezing into that tiny little pencil line. Let's keep the back knee fairly bent here. Extend your arms straight in front of you. And the same deal as we did when we were kneeling, we're going to keep the pelvis neutral, and as we inhale, float the arms up. Let the heart shine up. Find a little arch in your thoracic spine. And as you exhale, allow your hands to come down. Step your left foot forward to meet your right. As you inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, fold back in. As you inhale, circle the arms, reach all the way up. Pause here. Feel your pelvis nice and neutral, so you're still lifting those frontal hip points up as if they were wearing suspenders. As you exhale, bend the elbows out to the side. Find that arch through your upper spine as you stabilize your lumbar. Inhale the arms back up to the sky. As you exhale, hinge and fold that breath all the way out. Inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, step your right foot to the back of the mat. Seal the outer edge of your right foot down. Line up heel to arch alignment, so your right toes are turned in roughly 10 to 15 degrees. And then take your block to the inside of your left ankle. Seal your left elbow and your left knee in towards one another and identify, what do you want to work on here? Try to pull your left sitting bone underneath you as much as you can, so you're moving your outer thigh towards your inner thigh towards your outer thigh. Take the top arm up to the sky. And maybe brace your elbow and your knee into one another so that you can open up through the chest a little bit more. Opening up through the chest doesn't just mean sticking your chest out. It also means widening. So from collarbone to collarbone, can you widen? Good, and then turn your palm and reach for the front of the room, making the longest line possible from the outer edge of your right foot all the way through your fingertips. Don't forget about bracing the elbow and the knee together and using that to revolve your spine open. Every time you inhale, get even longer through the right side of your body. And every time you exhale, try to revolve your chest open just a little bit more. Good, and then on your next inhale breath, rise up into warrior two. And as you exhale, press into the ball mound of your left foot to straighten that left leg all the way. Hug the outer left shin in. Start to tilt the pelvis so the left sitting bone moves backwards. You deepen the crease of the left hip. Reach out as long as you can through the left side of the body. And then place your left hand down on the block. Right arm up to the sky. And take a few moments to identify, what are you feeling? How can you animate the parts of your body that are feeling a little bit vulnerable or a little bit tight? Maybe you take that top hand, revolve your palm to face behind you, take your hand behind your back, work on elongating through that right collarbone without collapsing into your left hip, right? So it takes some work and it takes some strong pressure through the outer edge of your right foot. If you have your hand behind your back, take your arm back up. And on your inhale breath, return to warrior two. And as you come into this warrior two, bring your awareness to your pelvis. Look at your front knee, make sure that it's tracking. And then flip your left palm over. As you inhale, reverse your warrior nice and deep. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands down. And step your left foot back to meet your right foot into a plank pose. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. One more thing on the left. Inhale your left leg up to the sky. And as you exhale, slowly shift forward. Bring your knee in towards your chest. And step your foot between your hands. Scissor your legs towards one another. Roll your right inner thigh up towards the ceiling. Bring your hands to your hips. Place a generous bend in your back knee. Lift the front of the pelvis up so the tailbone points down towards the floor. Firm the outer hips in towards the midline. Hold on to all of this strength that you have in your lumbopelvic hip area. Reach your arms forward as if you were squeezing a block. And as you inhale, start to float the arms up. Shine the heart up. Find a little tiny back bend in your upper back. Your palms could touch if you want. And as you exhale, bring your hands all the way down. Step your right foot forward to meet your left foot. As you inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, fold back down. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart, or you can keep your feet hip distance. Bend your knees. Circle the arms, Utkatasana, chair pose. Reach your arms out of your torso. Imagine your rib cage elongating out of your pelvis as you continue to sit your hips down. So you're creating that space in the sides of the waist. The arms are energized, you guys. They're vivacious arms. Make them excited to be here. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, stand all the way up. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. I forgot that twist, didn't I, on the second side? We'll get to it. Bend the knees, circle the arms, Utkatasana, chair pose. As you exhale, fold forward, straighten the legs. We'll do it right now. Step your right foot to the back of the mat. And go ahead and take the left arm out to the left and then start to revolve your rib cage towards the inner left thigh. And then you have that freedom of choice again, if I remember to give it to you, right? You can stay right here. You can take your arm over your ear. You can heel toe your foot towards the side edge of your mat. Wherever you are, just find a sense of contentment, a sense of being able to work with your breath, of being able to be present. And then find your way back into plank pose. So this sets us up perfectly. Lift your hips up and back into that downward facing dog. So the exercise that we did a moment ago, coming up into crescent pose, we're going to do that a little bit more dynamically, with the intention of strengthening the abdominals, allowing them to lengthen even as we maintain stability through the lowest part of the belly. So inhale your right leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, shift forward, engage your belly muscles, curl the knee in towards your chest, push the floor away, step your foot between your hands. Bend your back knee a little bit, reach your arms forward, set up your pelvis, and as you inhale, start to float the arms up, allow your chest to lift up. As you exhale, hands to the floor, step back into a plank pose, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, shift forward, curl your knee in towards your chest, push the floor away. Step your foot between your hands. Good. Set up your pelvis, bend your back knee, reach your arms forward. And then on your next inhale breath, float the arms up, up, up. Find a little back bend in your upper back. As you exhale, bring your hands back down to the floor. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Now we do it from plank. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, float all the way up. Find that little back bend. Exhale, bring your hands down, step back into plank. Inhale, float your left leg up. Exhale, step your foot between your hands. Inhale, float the arms up, set up the pelvis, just the back bend in the upper back. Good. Exhale, hands down, step your left foot back to meet your right. One more time, inhale, float the right foot up. Exhale, curl the knee into the chest, step the foot. Inhale, float the arms all the way up. Set up the pelvis, back bends in the upper back. Exhale, hands come down, step your right foot back to meet your left. Inhale, float the left leg up. Exhale, knee to chest, step your foot between your hands. Set everything up at the base of your spine. Inhale, lift up, crescent, feel your abdominals, your ribcage open up a little bit. Exhale, hands come down, step back to plank pose. Take an inhale in plank pose. As you exhale, lower your belly all the way down to the mat. Good. Reach your arms back behind you. Place your fingertips down on your yoga mat. And then start to walk your fingertips back a little bit more so that your chest starts to peel up off of the floor. Now roll the fronts of your shoulders away from the floor, press the left and the right side of your pubic bone down, and then float the arms up off of the floor. Reach your arms back a little bit more to lift the chest, press the pubic bone down, and then start to lengthen the legs so much that they float up off of the floor, like you're flying on the Titanic here. Keep breathing. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, release it down. Good. Now place your hands directly underneath your elbows. Pull backwards on your yoga mat. Start to curl your upper spine up. Roll your shoulder heads back. And keep going. Press into your hands. Lift your thigh bones up off of the floor. So just the tops of your feet are touching. Good. Look at your arms. Make sure that they are pillar arms, so straight up and down. And then try to project the center of your heart forward. Look over your right shoulder and to the center, and look over your left shoulder. Good, and to the center. And then drop the knees and shift the hips back into child's pose. Breathe into the back of your body. Good, and then shift forward again so that the shoulders are stacked on top of the wrists. Tuck the toes under. Lift up into a plank pose. Push the floor away. And as you exhale, lower your belly all the way down to the mat again. Good, flip your feet over. Walk your fingertips back just like we did a moment ago. Walk them back a little further so that your chest lifts up. Then draw your shoulder blades towards the center line of your back, broadening through your collarbones. Good. Now, use your hamstrings to bend your knees. Your hands are still down. Press your pubic bone down. And then see if you can press both of your heels up towards the ceiling. And then lift your chest a little bit more. Then just reach your arms back. Don't worry about grabbing anything. Just find this posture. Pretend you're squeezing a block between the inner part of your knees. Good. And then exhale, release it down. Place your hands directly underneath your elbows. Pull your yoga mat backwards. Start to peel your chest up off of the floor. Press your palms down. Lift everything up off of the floor. Make sure your arms are pillar arms. Look over your left shoulder. Look forwards. Look over your right shoulder. Look forwards. Bend your knees. Shift your hips back into a child's pose. Breathe into the back of your body. Remember that super highway carrying energy from that bright sun in the center of your body all throughout your body. Not just your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body. Bringing energy to all of these spaces. Good, shift forward again. Last time. Shoulders right over the wrist, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up, you're in a plank pose. Push the floor away, lift up through the front of your pelvis. As you exhale, lower your belly all the way down to the floor. So we didn't do any chaturangas today, but we lowered down a few times, was working on that control. All right, so this time, bend your knees, heels towards the ceiling. Press the left and the right side of your pubic bone down into the floor. Reach your arms back behind you. Allow that to kind of Titanic your chest up, like we worked on that movement. And then if your ankles are available, go ahead and grab onto your ankles and use pressing the shins backwards and lifting the thighs up to get more elevation through the chest, as well as press your shoulder blades into the front of your body. Make sure that the knees are not splaying apart from each other, that there's an evenness and a narrowness, a midline of the body. Keep breathing into the posture. Beautiful. Let's take one more breath and release it down. Make a pillow for your forehead and windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Good, and then roll over onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. And just allow yourself to breathe here for a moment. Great. Bring your hands behind your head. Elbows are wide. Extend your left leg forward. Cross your left elbow to your right knee as you exhale. As you inhale, come back to the center. As you exhale, cross your right elbow to your left knee. And as you inhale, come back to the center. So bicycles, exhale. And inhale back to center. Exhale, right to left. Inhale back to center. One more time each. Exhale. Inhale back to center. And exhale. Inhale back to center. Reach your arms forward. Reach your legs up to the sky. Lift your shoulder blades away from the floor. And then slowly lower your legs about a third of the way. Press your back ribs down into the floor just a little bit more. Breathe. Lower your legs another third of the way. Make sure that your low back is still pressing down into the floor. Good, and then lower your legs wherever your edge is. Stay and breathe. And then hug your knees in towards your chest. Good. Extend your left leg out in front of you. Keep hugging your right knee in towards your chest. And then extend the right arm out to the right and twist your right knee over towards the left. Good. Roll back to the center. And then just grip a hold of the outside of your right foot with your right arm on the inside of your right knee, and just pull that knee out into a half happy baby. Revolve your left thigh bone, inner thigh, down into the floor. It's like you're standing on your left foot. Good. And then hug your right knee in towards your chest one more time. And switch. Hug your left knee in, extend your right leg out, just pause. Sometimes it's a little different, stretching the left side and the right side of the back. I'm feeling like I get a little scrunchy on one side, so think about this space between your ribcage and your pelvis. Good, and then extend the left arm out to the left and twist over towards the right. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your left arm, catch a hold of the outside of your left foot. The left elbow is on the inside of the knee, and pull that knee down towards the left side of your waist as you stamp your left foot up towards the ceiling. Good, and then hug your left knee back into your chest. Add your right knee, hug both knees. Squeeze your knees tight, lift your head and your shoulders up. Compact yourself into a tight little ball. And as you exhale, surrender your body into your yoga mat. Feel the support of your mat. Feel the energy that's contained in your mat. Like just how many hours you've spent on that mat, how many feelings you've moved through on that mat. This mat which has held you through so much. Allow yourself to relax and soften into this mat, into this place of solace. Allow yourself to surrender any of the effort that might have gone into today's practice, any of the attention. Allow yourself to completely surrender any tension in your physical body. And just feel those open pathways. The flow of energy, the unobstructed flow. Imagine that you were irrigating all of the different parts. You were sending energy. This is your time to be restored. as you start to re-explore, reunite yourself with your breath, that current moving through you, bring your breath back into the center of your body. Imagine that bright sun getting brighter. As you exhale, imagine that energy moving through all of the channels of your body again. It's in this part of our body, it's in our personality, right, that we have this freedom and this choice, and that's what we're celebrating today on this mat. So take whatever steps you would like to choose to make your way from being surrendered and relaxed to getting towards seated and facing your day, while still remaining present, of course. Take all of the time you need to come to a seat and bring your hands together in front of your heart. When you get there, just allow yourself to be present in the stillness and the silence. Allow your awareness to remain focused within as we all meet. And then shining the light of gratitude. Feeling the fullness of being able to fully choose to have an ownership of our bodies, our practice, and even an ownership of our mind and our emotions, and a trust and a faith in knowing that we can move through and flow through anything that life presents us with. So just imagine that gratitude is filling our gigantic yoga studio, spreading all across Los Angeles, from Beverly Hills to Mar Vista to Bel Air, right? And then slowly allow your eyes to open. Namaste.